At the end of it, because the game was such a blowout and there was so much offense and Nyes with a Gordie Howe hat trick and all that, I don't think the Martin Jones conversation came up enough, but I can guarantee it's going to come up a lot in the future.
Yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, he starts tomorrow night. Like, it's a layup because he's coming off a shutout. Like, you can have, like, coaches can, there's always a PR spin in every decision. And they want to be protective of Ilya Samsonov, obviously. Right? He was here with them last year. He played well last year. They're going to need him. I think he has more upside than Jones because he's younger. But Joseph Woll is going to be out for at least another month, likely a month and a half. So you're going to need both goalies. But you're trying to pick up wins right now. And Martin Jones is not some guy off the waiver wire here. You signed him in the offseason. He's a seasoned vet, and he's played pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, he made some good stops on Saturday night. And if he can find a rhythm, for me, I think that's imperative. I'd play him.
I'm right there with you. And there's two different directions you can go. You can say we're just going to be 50-50 with Samsonov and Jones, and that's our plan, and we're going to stick to it. But if you take a look at the schedule, like, you have the Rangers tomorrow. Martin Jones played pretty well. He's an NHL goalie. He's been established for a long time. You probably feel like at this point he gives you the best chance to win on any given night. And then Thursday, you get the Buffalo Sabres. So logic would tell you the goalie that gives you the better chance to win, maybe you play him Tuesday and against the Rangers.
He played against them last week too, right?
Right. And then, give Samsonov the Buffalo game. It's almost like, like with the situation they're in with going to like the third goalie on their depth chart. It's like a guy, he comes up, he doesn't play very much, plays 8 minutes, but he fights and he plays a really scrappy game. And you're like, well, how do I take that guy out? Like, what kind of message does that send if I remove that guy from the game? And I think that applies to Martin Jones, where he's played well when he's had the net. He played really well on Saturday, even though it gets lost in a 7-0 game. What kind of message does that send to him that, like, no matter how well you play, it's just the other guy's going back in?
I agree. I mean, I think you're always massaging egos. You're trying to do what's best for the players, but ultimately what's best for the team. And for me, I think it's very easy to explain why Jones would play tomorrow night. He played against the Rangers and beat them last week. He's coming off a shutout. He's a veteran guy. And
Samsonov hasn't been very good.
And Samsonov hasn't been very good.
Let's be honest. Call it for what it is. He
Yes.
doesn't look comfortable and doesn't make you feel like any kind of ease when he's in the net.
He should have been pulled against Columbus.
Yeah.
And they chose not to because they thought the game was over. And I think they regretted not pulling him when they lost in overtime. But you also have something that's coming alive here in Toronto that, I don't think is coming up because there's always this strange narrative around the Leafs and this focus on the playoffs, right? Like, it's always, well, what does this mean for the playoffs? How is this going to work and equate in the playoffs? Is you lose sight of what's at stake during the regular season. And them tracking down Boston is not out of the question.
No.
They're 5 points back with a game in hand. Boston is coming back to life.